friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name's Han and I'm a hand embroidery artist. I also run a small business where I sell my hand embroidered shoes, and for this video I thought I'd just bring you along for the week for a little vlog style video just to show you exactly what I get up to. I don't have anything super exciting planned for the week, but I do have a couple of things that I'd like to show you guys. Can you lie down? I have a few things arriving in the mail, I have some redecorating to do in my office, and of course I have a bunch of shoes to embroider. I won't be showing you exact tutorial style clips throughout the week, otherwise this video would literally be 45 hours long. But I'll show you clips of the finished shoes and clips of me working on the shoes and stuff. Hi guys, so this is Editing Han here. I actually didn't record any clips of me embroidering the shoes. I think I maybe got one clip of me working on a pair of shoes. The main reason for this is because I'm really nearsighted, so when I'm working on shoes, I usually have them really close to my face. I'm talking 6 to 8 inches away from my eyes as I embroider, and it's not a very aesthetic process to capture on film. I'll try and do better next week in my next vlog so I can show you guys a little bit more of the embroidery process. Okay, back to the video. This is one of my first weekly vlogs, so I'm still trying to get the hang of how to film everything and angles and things like that, but hopefully I can still make it aesthetic and hopefully you guys will still enjoy it. So on the schedule for today, I have 2 pairs of shoes to embroider, I have some admin work to get done, and then later on, depending how late I finish, I have to work on my shoe embroidery book. If you're new here, if this is the first video you've watched on my channel, you might not know, but I recently signed a publishing deal for my first ever shoe embroidery craft book, which is super exciting, but it's quite a lot of work. I do quite a lot of writing every week for it. I am on a deadline. I have to get a good chunk of it sent in by the end of December, so you'll probably see quite a few clips of me working on that book throughout the week. Okay, without further ado, I'm gonna hop into the shoes for the day and I'll check in with you guys a little bit later. The first pair of shoes I worked on this week was a pair of Nike Air Forces. These are just the white colorway, and I do all of my bridal Air Force designs on these exact shoes. Everyone always asks me if it's particularly hard to embroider Air Force, and it really is. I have to use a leather puncturing tool, and for these specific shoes I'm working on today, I'll be doing a lot of hand beading. Since this design contains a lot of beaded crystals and lots of extra bling, you'll see what I mean when they're done. One of my favourite finishing touches for these is that I switch out the regular laces that these Air Forces come with and I replace them with some white satin laces. When I embroider, I like to listen to podcasts and audiobooks, and I also watch a lot of bookish content on YouTube. Here I'm watching a video from Newly Nova. She makes a lot of book related content, a lot of book reviews and funny videos. I really enjoy her content. And here are the finished beaded Air Force Ones. I told you that they were very blingy. I really love this design. It's super eye-catching. It does take me a very long time since all of the beads that you see are hand beaded and then embroidered onto the shoe. So it's a very time consuming process. These take me about 5 to 6 hours to complete, but I think it's worth it. I don't know if there's anything else like this on the market, and I always enjoy making these. These are one of my newer designs that I've recently released along with a couple of other Air Force designs, but these might just be my favorite. Throughout the day, I like to take lots of breaks, especially since I'm sitting down in my office chair. Both my dog and my cat give me lots of excuses to go out during the day. I started taking my cat out on a leash a couple of months ago, and I've honestly created such a monster. He requests very loudly to go out at all hours of the day now. But since I do work from home and I can basically set my own schedule, I get to take him out as much as his little heart desires. And it's so beautiful out here right now. Fall is my favourite season, so the more excuses to get out here, the better. I always find that my mental health is often better when I'm able to get out the house more and spend more time in nature. So I'm always grateful that I have such a flexible schedule, because whenever I fancy it, I can pop the harness on the dog and the cat and head outside for some much needed nature therapy. So after I came back inside, I finished up another pair of bridal sneakers. These are my platinum bridal luxes on some white monochrome Converse. I released this design about a year ago and they've been bestsellers in my Etsy store ever since. I love making these shoes. So since I did 2 pairs of shoes on Monday, I didn't have much time left over for admin and writing my book, so I'm gonna do a lot of that now on Tuesday morning. Just take care of any emails and Etsy messages. I also get a lot of messages on Instagram that usually go to my requests folder. I always like to get my admin and computer stuff done before I get ready for the day, so I'm always in my comfies when I'm doing this kind of stuff. I often try to do a little bit of walking as well when I write write my book in the evenings. I don't find this as easy though, since I'm focusing a lot more when I'm writing my book. So I'll usually get about 30 minutes of writing in just like this, and then I'll have to switch to a comfy chair. So these are the shoes that I finished on Tuesday. They are a pair of pet shoes for a bride who's getting married in about 2 weeks, which is super exciting. I always love embroidering cats and dogs. Since I have a cat and a dog, I just think it's a super cute duo. And I always love the challenge that comes with embroidering pet shoes. They're definitely some of my favorite shoes to create. Hello friends, it's been a couple of days since I've checked in face to face, but I have been showing you all of the shoes I've finished each day this week. But today is Friday and I thought that we could arrange the gallery wall behind my desk. My husband recently got me one of those rising desks, and the wall behind it is kind of plain. I have like 2 embroideries on it right now, but I have a vision in mind for what I want. I have some plant cuttings I want to put up, so I'm just going to show you guys the whole process, and then I'm going to get into my embroidery for the day. So let's go. This is a little embroidery I did of my dog. Here he is. Want to say hi? Okay, but I'm going to be putting this up somewhere on the wall. I'm hoping to go for like a Pinterest eclectic gallery wall kind of vibe, so stay tuned. Let's see what we end up with. So as you can see, the wall behind my desk is kind of sad. I have 2 little embroideries hanging directly above my desk, and then 1 little embroidery hanging to the left near my plant propagation station. The main piece of art I'm going to be working around is this artificial moss board that I created like a couple of years ago. It's basically some fake moss balls that I glued to the back of a frame, and then I glued some more artificial moss around it, kind of just to look a little bit like a forest floor. I really like it. I don't think it looks too artificial. I love greenery of all kinds, so I think this is a great addition to my gallery wall. I recently found the term dopamine decor on TikTok, and that's definitely what I'm going for with this little gallery wall. So plants and like brighter colors personally give me dopamine. I definitely was a victim of like the beige decor at one point in my life, but not anymore. I added a couple more smaller frames and the portrait of my dog, as well as some individual little propagation tubes, which I'm going to go back in and fill up and show you guys the finished product. But this is how it's looking without plants in the tubes. It's definitely giving me some dopamine. There's lots of color. There's going to be lots of plants in just a second. And don't worry, I will be adding frames around the prints that I've just stuck up with a couple of command strips. And now come along with me as I add some cuttings to those little propagation tubes. I got all of these cuttings off of eBay. I will add the link in the description. Hopefully the seller still has some available, because these cuttings were super healthy when they arrived, and right now they're totally thriving. I don't have any of them that are wilting or anything right now, so I definitely recommend purchasing from this seller if you are looking for some healthy plant cuttings like these. I like to add a tiny bit of fertilizer to my water for cuttings like this, just to give them a little bit of a head start. This can be a bit of a messy process. I did spill quite a lot of water during this, but that's totally fine. So I've got some kind of pothos, some philodendron and a fern cutting, and I think almost all of these cuttings were already rooted, which is great. I just want the roots to become a little bit more prominent before I plant them out. I also just love the way that propagations look. I have a whole little propagation station to the left of my desk, and sometimes I prefer to keep these plants in water, especially pothos. I find that when I have pothos in water like this, it tends to do much better than when it's planted in soil. And I love to give these little rooted cuttings as gifts, especially during the holiday season, to my friends who love plants just as much as I do. They tend to make really great gifts, and I think it's a really nice touch, especially if you have a fellow plant lover in your life. I also have this little jar for my desk where I'm going to put the fern propagation. I'm honestly not sure if ferns enjoy being submerged in water like this. I'm going to have to look it up. If you know, let me know in the comments, because if she doesn't like this little jar, then I'm definitely going to have to move her to some soil. I don't want her to die. But I will keep you updated on all of my cuttings. I absolutely love how they look in their little stations on the wall, and hopefully they just become more and more healthy. They grow some nice long roots, and I'll be able to plant them out at different spots all around my office. So here's some final clips of how the gallery wall turned out. I have already ordered some frames for the little prints that I have stuck up here, but I am so glad that I did this, because now I have the layout exactly how I want it, and I'll just go back in and add the frames once they arrive. Okay, so my little gallery wall behind my desk is all done. It took me a little bit longer than it probably should have. Can you tell I'm absolutely awful at like holding the camera and talking. It's time for me to get into a bit of embroidery. I have one pair of shoes to finish today, but before I do that, I will show you the shoes that I finished yesterday. They're a pair of high top pet shoes, and those are some of my favorite shoes ever to embroider. So I'll show you those, and then I'll get into embroidering for the day. As I said earlier, I absolutely love doing pet shoes. I believe I finished these shoes on Wednesday or Thursday, I could be wrong. This bride wanted a seafoam and coral pink color scheme, and she wanted both of her dogs on these shoes, so that's what I did for her. And on the backs of these pet shoes, I just added the bride's wedding date. And then the last pair of shoes I finished this week were a custom color scheme pair of bridal Converse. These are just my something blue design, but people often ask for custom color schemes, and this bride asked for like a blush pink neutral color scheme with some sage green, which is exactly what I gave her, and I love how they turned out. On the backs of these shoes, I added the bride's future last name and her wedding date. Here's the gallery wall a couple of days after I finished it. You can see that the plants are really happy, no one's drooping or dying, and I'll be sure to give you guys more updates in the weekly vlogs that are to follow this one. Hello friends, it is Saturday. I don't tend to do much work on the weekends, like embroidery wise, but I do spend a bit of time editing and doing social media stuff, and I actually just got a really exciting package in the mail, which I kind of want to share with you guys before filming my little outro and ending this vlog. So let's open this package and I'll tell you exactly what it's for. Exciting! Drum roll please. So if you follow me over on Instagram, you'll know that I have done a couple of partnerships with Thursday Boot Company. They are one of my favorite shoe companies. They create the highest quality boots I've ever personally worn. And the little booties in this box are for a full giveaway that we're hosting together. I'll get them out so you can have a look at them before I embroider them later next week. A little bit of ASMR, if you will. How beautiful are these? They're like the perfect autumn fall boot. I love the colour, I love the structure of these boots. I actually have a couple pairs of these that I own, and I can't wait to add some fall embroidery to these. I'm thinking like some leaves, a little bit of like darker greenery, some moody embroidery just on the little ankle strip here. And I'm so excited to get to work on these and for you guys to enter into the giveaway to win them. So I'm going to set these aside for next week. I believe I'm going to embroider them on Tuesday to hopefully have the giveaway up and running by Friday. But yeah, I just wanted to share these with you guys because I've been waiting for them to come in the mail and they finally arrived this morning. So I will be showing you these next week in next week's vlog. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this week's vlog. This has been my first ever week in the life vlog, so I hope it wasn't too chaotic. I hope it was enjoyable to watch. And thank you so much for watching, especially if you've gotten to this point. If you like small business content, I would definitely consider subscribing to this channel. I make a lot of videos where I try to give helpful tips on how to run your own successful small business as an artist. And I also make a lot of embroidery tutorials. I think I'm probably going to be doing an embroidery tutorial for these boots, so stay tuned for that as well. If you liked this video, please hit that like button and maybe leave me a comment if you enjoyed this little weekly vlog. I'm hoping to get better at the whole filming throughout the week process as I go, but this is the first one, so bear with me. I think the next ones will probably be a bit better. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye!